got to get ready for that court turning gold. Shoes turn gold, jerseys turn gold.
It's your first time here. Leave all the doubt, leave all the fear right here.
Going back, baby. 4 more, baby. Going back. 4 more. I do feel a lot different this time. You don't always get a second chance.
Boston is buzzing as the NBA Finals are finally here. After a grueling 7 months, we are down to 2. The Eastern Conference champion Celtics and the Western Conference champion Mavericks. The Jays hoping to hang banner number 18 while Luka and Kyrie are trying to win it for Dallas for the first time since their head coach Jayson raised the Larry O'Brien back in 2011. History begins tonight as we're 30 minutes away from Game 1. Hello and welcome into Hoop Streams presented by DoorDash. I'm Cassidy Hubbarth alongside a Hoop Streams OG. Day one. And of course.
Hey, Richard.
We got Richard. Really?
I love you guys. I missed you guys. I heard you guys were doing a hoop stream.
Right. And we got Brian.
You look good.
We got Brian Windhorst.
You look good, Wendy.
In the OVO October
you
zone.
look good, Wendy.
Hey, I think I got my own here. You see this packaging?
Yeah.
You see this packaging? I think you guys got yours on NBA Today.
Oh, look at this. I feel like this was planned a couple of months ago.
The finals jackets. The finals jackets. I'm going to leave that there. Wait, while we have you off the top, because we know you got busy things, how are we feeling about Game 1? What is the...
Game 1 is my favorite because then it gives us something tangible to talk about, right? There's 9 different things that we're looking at.
Yes.
Who's going to do this? What's the matchup? How are the bigs? How are they guarding Luka? How Jayson Tatum is going to show up? And we all find that out here in about 30 minutes.
Yes. As the lights are down, this arena is getting hyped. Perk, how you feeling heading to Game 1?
I mean, this is the moment that you wait on, right? This is the moment when the lights hit the ice, you see who really about their life, right? Is it going to be Jayson Tatum? Is it going to be Luka, Kyrie? Which role player is going to have their one shining moment in the NBA Finals, right? Who's going to be the unsung hero? Are they going to steal one on the road? There's so many questions. How is Kristaps Porzingis going to look? I feel like he's the most important player in this series. If he's not 100% healthy, I feel like it favors with the Mavs. If he is, then I feel like it favors with the Celtics. There you go, walking in. Y'all look like twins.
Hey, that man look good, bro.
Y'all look like
I
twins.
know he gonna play well tonight. He dressed like me.
Except he can get a haircut.
I don't know if anyone's stopping how Brian looks right now, but Brian,
Wendy,
how do you feel like Kristaps' presence impacts this series?
Him just being out on the court is such a big deal for them. You've heard of floor spacers. He's a super floor spacer because he puts he goes way out on the court, 25 feet from the basket. He shoots three-pointers above the break. The Mavericks bigs got to come out and guard him. Even if he's not making them, they got to come out and guard him. It's a big factor in this game. There's a lot of energy in this building.
Yes.
I covered you in the finals, several finals. I covered you in the finals. This is such a culmination, not only of this season, but a culmination of so much work. The Celtics have been building towards this team in this moment for years, 5-6 years. It was last June that they traded for Porzingis so that when they got back here, they would be better equipped. And we're going to see tonight whether that trade ends up making a big difference.
And it's interesting. You got the Celtics, who were the best team all regular season, and the Mavs, who were the best team the last 20 games. And we'll see as they're both coming in with some momentum. Are you staying with us the whole show?
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm just hanging.
Why not?
You taking off clothes, bro?
Yeah, I got my jacket on.
Oh,
here,
see,
bro.
yeah.
You got your jacket?
I got my jacket over here, bro.
Well,
my jacket
we
on.
appreciate you stopping by because you're going to be coming on, later in the series. That's right. Yesterday, you were all over NBA Media Day, which is always fun. There was a lot of fun in games, but there was also some poignant reflections. Oh, good. Okay, it does look good.
Bird.
Yeah.
Honestly, Bird.
How it
That
look
look good,
It
bro.
looks good.
I look slimming.
Yeah.
Do I look?
You look good.
You look great, Perk. You look great, Perk. Okay, take a look at some of the poignant remarks from some of the biggest stars on Media Day.
First time here. Hopefully it's not the last time, but never take it for granted. You never know if you're going to come back. So just enjoy the experience.
This is what we've all strived for since we were kids, is to be at this level playing against the best of the best. They have a great team over there led by a great coach. We're going to be in for a great series, a hard, tough series, and they're going to give us their best. And I know that they're not going to slow down when they see me.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of possessions where you're locked up one-on-one against Kyrie Irving. What can you do to try to nullify, thwart, stop, whatever it is, Kyrie?
It's I think it's just familiarity, doing your best to stay in front of them, trying to take away the things that'll probably hurt you the most, and then probably most of all, having help.
Keep talking about pressure. It's the NBA Finals, like, it's supposed to be fun. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Is like I'm in the NBA Finals. I have a second opportunity to win a championship.
I think this is a special group. I really do. The core group of it has been here for a few years now. The ultimate goal is to get over the hump and win. I think that'll add a lot to our legacy. But as of right now, I mean, that story is still kind of untold.
The fans are going to say what they're going to say. I appreciate them and their relationship they have to the game. But it's about the players at the end of the day.
Let's talk a little bit about Kyrie Irving. We've all seen the videos, of course, of him flipping off the Boston fans, stomping on Lucky. We've seen those. But we've also seen this year, growth in Kyrie, maturity in Kyrie. What have you made of him being remorseful about the way he handled himself while here in Boston?
Well, I think it's all about growing, right? Kyrie Irving is 32 years old right now, and his leadership has been a beautiful thing to watch. The way the way that he's been leading this Dallas Mavericks team, as far as being the vocal leader, the culture setter, it speaks volumes on him. I mean, he's in a happy place, but it just goes to show you, in the right situation, when a franchise is willing to embrace and do the necessary things to make one of their franchise guys feel comfortable, then you get the best version of Kyrie Irving.
Did you see Kyrie Irving walking in with a basketball?
Yeah, he walked in with a basketball.
That's what it's about, man. He's a hooper, lifetime hooper, man. He's a hooper that hoopers love, right? And that's Kyrie.
The difference that he is as a player and as a leader from when he was here, when he was 25, 26 years old to now, I don't know if I've ever seen an arc like this. And I almost, several different times during this year, I was like, well, this can't last. There's going to be a media session where he steps out of line. There's going to be a moment where it goes back to the way it is. And he has only continued to not only be impressive, but be a leader for the team. The way he approached the conference finals, where he was a perfect running mate for Luka, whatever Luka needed, he delivered. He never broke stride. He never let his emotions get anything but in a positive way. And of course, he's brilliantly talented. You put that together, you have a special reason, you have a special player. That's why they're here. They're here because of Luka and Kyrie.
I love how you described it, that Kyrie is in full bloom right now. He had to go through everything he had went to, realize that was a maturation process for him. And he's, why do you think the Mavericks are such a good fit for him?
Well, I think, one, I want to give some love to God Shamgod, another New York legend, a point guard that Kyrie grew up respecting. I talked to him early in the season when we were doing one of his games, and he was like, yo, I got Kyrie. And sometimes as a young player, you're just looking for someone to connect with. And Kyrie always seems like a young man that was searching. He knew he had greatness. He just needed to search to how to amplify it and how to put it out. And I think sometimes being around Jayson Kidd, a point guard that he grew up idolizing in Jersey, and then you have God Shamgod, I think the environment that Kyrie is in might be the best of his career.
If he wins a championship, what would it do for his legacy?
Some people are going to get replaced in that top 75 greatest players of all time list. I mean,
especially because he was an underdog in 16. That was a big underdog that he helped lead to the finals. They're underdogs here. They're rightfully underdogs. Boston is an awesome team. If he leads two underdogs to victories, absolutely. That's absolutely.
And the story matters, right? What he's been through, what he went through when he was with this organization as well, the way he left this organization, the heat that he gets when he comes back, and to face them on the biggest stage and you're really the guy, right? I know Luka is the guy, but again, it's no Batman and Robin in this situation. It's Batman and it's Superman.
Yes.
That's exactly what they are. So, if Kyrie get this done with a bunch of young guys that have never been on this stage before, this is going. You talk about elevating and legacy. This might, seriously, this might be. If he win this championship, it might be better than the championship he won in Cleveland.
No.
Or means more to him. It might mean more to him.
The reason why I agree with you.
It might mean more, but it's not better.
No, it's not better. No, but this is why I agree with you.
Okay.
This is why I agree with you. The LeBron's championship in Cleveland meant, in my opinion, more than the ones in Miami. Right? Steph Curry's championship post the Kevin Durant era probably is his most impactful championship to his legacy. To go to the finals, Kobe winning his first championship without Shaq. So for him to get to the finals without LeBron, for him to win another championship, even if it doesn't matter who he's paired with, it cements his legacy as that guy, regardless of where he goes.
Technically number 2 behind Luka?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We know his importance. If Kyrie doesn't play well, they don't win this series.
So they should just open up an Olympic spot for him if he wins as well.
That part too.
As the Celtics are running out onto the court, this TD Garden crowd is loud, and they're letting their team hear it. As we can see them, they'll be running out with actually very special shooting shirts in memory of Bill Walton, and we're all wearing pins right now in memory of Bill Walton. Obviously a special friend, colleague. We miss him dearly. I know you had a special connection with him, but what do you think of these shooting shirts and the NBA honoring Bill Walton?
I've avoided talking about it because it makes me emotional. He's a person that took me in at 17 years old and taught me so much about life. My parents didn't know anything about basketball, and I meet him when I was in high school, and he invited me out. He took the first finals game I ever went to. He was calling and said, "Hey, Luke, do you and Richard want to come to the finals?" I watched Lakers versus Indiana, and I'm a kid, and he had just taken me under his wing, broadcasting basketball. He was more than a father. He was a mentor. I rode over here with all of the Walton boys, and it's been a very emotional time for their family, and he's meant so much to the world.
Yeah.
Like that's what, it's not just the basketball community. The Grateful Dead did a whole tribute to him. Messages all around the world. He's an icon, and I'm just glad that he's being celebrated during the NBA Finals.
Thank you for sharing that. And as you mentioned, the Walton family will be in attendance. I think you also heard those boos. The Mavs just came out onto the court as well. And we'll be watching how Kyrie Irving, if he reacts with any of the people here at TD Garden. But it's time now to see who's zeroed in, brought to you by DoorDash. And guys, we're focusing on the dynamic duos in the finals. Luka and Kyrie have been on an absolute tear this postseason, putting up 4 games where both scored at least 30. And in the Western Conference Finals, they scored or assisted on 76% of the Mavs' points. Not to be outdone, the Celtics, Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown made quick work out east. They have played 102 playoff games together and combined for 60 points per game in the conference finals, the most of any duo in a playoff series in Celtics history. So guys, we are going to focus on 3 categories comparing these duos, and you tell me who you all are siding with, okay? Oh, as we have Shaq joining us real quick.
What up, Deez?
Nice to see you, Shaq. All right, so we're talking about these duos, and we're going to have some categories. First up, Brian, which team has the more talented duo? Luka and Kyrie, or Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown?
When it comes to talent, how can you not say Kyrie Irving? I've never seen a talent like Kyrie Irving, so I have to say Dallas with respect to the Jays.
Yeah, I'm going with Luka and Kyrie. Look, when it comes down to Kyrie Irving, he's the most skilled player to ever touch the damn basketball. One could argue if he was 6'6", 6'7", he might be the greatest player to ever play the game of basketball. And Luka, can we keep, 5 first-team All-NBA teams, right? Like, in his career, he only been in the league 6 years, and his resume is already better than some. So when I think about what Luka brings to the table, we know he led the league in scoring, but it's the assist, the playmaking, making guys around him better.
Yeah, what Perk said, I couldn't hear him, but yes, it's Luka and Kyrie.
Okay, just to quote Jaylen Brown, we kind of glorify guys that can play one side of the ball, but we really don't pay respect to people who guard and play defense. Anything to being talented means and giving it to the Jays? Nothing.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. Which team is more clutch? Dallas or obviously the Jays? We're talking about the
What
duos
team's more
here.
clutch?
Which duo is more clutch?
I mean, damn, I got to go with Luka and Kyrie again. I mean, if it comes down to it, and you're asking me who do I want the ball, which guy or which two I want the ball in their hands to win me the basketball game, whether it's a minute left, 30 seconds left, or 10 seconds left, I want Luka and Kyrie, and then.
What about the double bang for Jaylen? I'm just trying to play.
Yeah, Kyrie, you're trying to play devil's advocate.
I'm trying to
Kyrie
play
hit one of the
devil's-
biggest shots in NBA history.
But how about the fact that the Jays made quick work during these finals?
I know, and I had to go with the Dallas duo because they're so awesome as a 1-2 punch down the stretch.
Okay. All right, last and final category. Who do you trust more? We're talking about a duo in the Jays who have been on this stage before together, and then Luka and Kyrie being on the stage together for the first time. Who do you trust more?
I'm going to go with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You want to know why? Because they could do it in a variety of ways. They can hang their hats on the defensive end and get stops, whether that's block shots, deflections, steals, and they could affect the game more than just one way for us, the offensive end. I'm going to give a slight edge.
Did you change that a little bit, though? Were you, like, on the fence?
I was on the fence with that one.
I was on the fence with all of these, and I went with
Well,
the
I'll tell you
Jays.
one thing, Wendy. You and I both. Wendy, you and I both on the fence at the same time.
But this is my thing. The problem with doing the comparisons of the two superstars is I think Luka and Kyrie win most of those battles.
Yes.
But the problem with this whole situation is the Celtics have the best team.
Yeah.
And those two guys. So I trust the duo of Luka and Kyrie, but I also know that Jaylen and Jayson have the team behind them that supports them and push them through.
I'm saying, Jordan, in terms of playmaking, needed to have a Steve Kerr or John Paxson to pass to and have the mindset to pass that ball off to, and we've seen that with Jaylen and Jayson making the right plays. All right, Dash Pass is celebrating $0 delivery fees. Snap a pic of any zero on the broadcast, post it on X with hashtag DashPass0 and hashtag sweepstakes, and you could win prizes like a trip to the finals. And guys, the fans are showing out here in Boston as we are about 12 minutes away from tip-off. Things getting really amped up here at TD Garden. Mavs in the finals as the 5 seed, becoming the 5th seeded team or worse to make the finals since the seeding began in 1984. But it's time now for a new segment we're calling Between Two Tims, as I am now joined by Tim Bontemps and Tim MacMahon. And guys, we have a lot to get into, so let's start with you, MacMahon. You've been covering the Mavs all season. We're talking about the duos. How have you seen that duo of Kyrie and Luka grow throughout the season?
Yeah, look, last year, even though they did not make the playoffs, it kind of fell apart on them. They were an elite offensive duo. They couldn't close games. They couldn't get stops. Give Nico Harrison a lot of credit. That was a pretty good deflection.
No, it was. Thank you.
Give Nico Harrison a lot of credit for upgrading the supporting cast around them. But then those guys, they always wanted to play with each other. They always saw the potential in playing with each other. They just got more comfortable. They were deferring to each other too much down the stretch in close games last season, and they've learned how to play off of each other. Luka wanted a co-star. He was thrilled when Kyrie arrived, and it took a while for it to click, but it has clicked this year.
The crowd right now, sorry to cut you off.
I can't hear you.
The crowd is cheering because Kristaps Porzingis is being shown on the Jumbotron, and that's where I wanted to go, because this matchup is like the movie Ghost of Girlfriend's Past. I don't know if you guys remember that movie, but how should people view the relationship between Luka and Kristaps? Is that really a story as far as attention carrying over to this finals?
I actually cannot hear a word that you're saying because the roar for Porzingis is so loud.
Yes.
No, he has not played. He has not played in Dallas.
And you can see his face. He is pumped up and he's feeling that crowd.
He has not played in Dallas since he was traded. I certainly anticipate that Mavericks fans will give him this same kind of welcome home for Game 3. But look, it didn't work out between them. They did butt heads early on. By the end, it wasn't about a personality conflict. It was about a basketball fit. The basketball fit wasn't there. They are both in much better places now. I think the stuff not working in Dallas helped prepare Porzingis to succeed in Boston, to be that complementary player, to be a defensive anchor who's facing the floor. He's doing for the Celtics now what the Mavericks wanted him to do in Dallas, but it wasn't going to happen with him and Luka.
The drama of it all for him coming out late.
Coming out late, the first interesting tactical move in the series is Porzingis not being in the starting lineup and Al Horford being out there instead. I thought Porzingis would be out there to get him in his normal rhythm. Then he's going to come off the bench against his former team. Very curious to see how he looks in his first game back.
Okay, I want to get your thoughts, since you've been covering the Celtics all year, just on the Jays and how you've seen them grow together this year.
I mean, I think the Celtics, and particularly Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, are in as good a mental state as I've seen them in the 6 years I've been around them. They've had 10 days to get ready for these finals. They're not used to that. They're used to playing long playoff series, not having a lot of time off. And these guys are really loose and confident. I think you saw Jayson Tatum's answer yesterday about, to win a championship means that I become a great player in the history of the Celtics. They've embraced the situation they're in a way they maybe didn't in the past, and they are very familiar with this situation they're in now. Haven't been in the finals 2 years ago. So they're ready for all this stuff, and I really feel like they're in as good a place as I've seen them.
Okay, obviously we know we have 4 big stars in this game, but championships are won by a whole team. So outside of these duos, MacMahon, who are you keeping your eye on as far as the X factor is concerned?
The third most important player on the Mavericks is a 20-year-old rookie, Derek Lively II. For the Mavericks to win this series, I think he's going to have to be the most impactful rookie in an NBA Finals since Magic Johnson in 1980. Sounds crazy, but think about it. There's not that many rookies that make major splashes in the Finals. They need Lively to play as well as he did late in that OKC series and when he was healthy in the Minnesota series.
And what a story he is, as we all know, that he is playing with a heavy heart, and he's used it as motivation to, make this finals run for his mother, who obviously passed away before the finals, or before the playoffs. And Tim, who are you looking at in terms of the Boston Celtics outside of the Jays who needs to step up for them?
I mean, obviously, Cassie, you could talk about Kristaps Porzingis, but to me, it's Drew Holiday, the guy that Luka Doncic is called the best defensive player in the NBA, the guy that's going to spend a lot of time, I think, on both Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving in this series. Very curious to see if Boston tries to do what Oklahoma City did and just take Kyrie Irving out and say, Luka and the other guys, let's see if you can beat us, the best offense in the history of the NBA. So to me, it's Drew Holiday, the guy the Celtics traded for the day before the start of the season, the missing piece to get them over the top. Can he impact this game in this series the way they hope he can?
Tim, thank you so much. Obviously, pay attention to their work on ESPN.com and listen to their podcast with our Brian Windhorst, the Hoop Collective, anywhere you get your podcast. Appreciate you both. And these teams are set to square off shortly here. And we talked about the duos, but only one can win the Finals MVP. The current odds at ESPN Bet has Jayson Tatum as the favorite to win the Bill Russell NBA Finals MVP award. Luka is close behind, followed by Jaylen Brown. And Kyrie rounds out the top 4 with a plus 1,400 odds. So a bit of a long shot for someone on a redemption tour. All right, guys, we are about under 7 minutes away from tip-off, 8:30 Eastern on ABC, as it's time now for the main attraction, as we got Brian and Perk back with us. And guys, this is a matchup, as I mentioned earlier, between the best team the entire season against the best team over the last 20 games. How much weight do you guys put on any of these numbers ahead in terms of how they did in the regular season heading into this NBA Finals?
Well, it's all about how you're playing right now, right? And Dallas has been playing some of the best basketball on both ends of the floor. And since that trade, picking up P.J. Washington, the most important position in the NBA when it comes down to teams competing for a championship. If you look at all the teams that was competing or was in the running, the Denver Nuggets, they had Aaron Gordon, Minnesota Timberwolves, they had McDaniels. You look at OG Anunoby, what he brought to the New York Knicks, Jayson Tatum, and now you add P.J. Washington. It gives you that 3-and-D guy that you need in order to go and complete the mission.
both of these teams have hit the jackpot with their transactions. The Celtics won the Executive of the Year. Brad Stevens won Executive of the Year. It wouldn't surprise me if Nico Harrison wins it next year for how good he did this year. So they're here because their stars played well, because they hit their transactions, and because their role players have done great getting into this spot.
Okay, we just had the two Tims, and Tim Bontemps was pointing out Drew Holiday being a big X factor for this team. I bring up Drew Holiday because we don't know how they're going to guard Luka. They're going to throw multiple actions at him. How should they guard Luka Doncic, Perk?
Well, you can't guard Luka Doncic. You can't trap him. It's hard to defend him. You can't put a smaller guy on him. He's going to abuse him. The best way to guard Luka is to put him in multiple action defensively. You got to make him slide those puppies. I'm thinking that Joe Mazzulla game plan is going to be the same game plan that we saw Ime Udoka try to do to Steph Curry. Make him guard to wear him out defensively. Now, Steph Curry stood on business and he rose to the occasion. Luka's going to have to do the same because they're going to put him in action and make him guard.
Most of the time, Cass, the Celtics are going to have 4 guys on the court that they're okay with guarding Luka. So they're going to try to avoid the double team, the trap, and they're going to do switching. And they're going to trust their depth and their defensive system. And if he scores 40, that's fine. But he can't score 40 and also have 15 assists. They've got to cut out the role players and don't go to double teams. You have to stay out of double teams if you're the Celtics. If you can play Luka one-on-one and keep him honest, you're going to have a good chance.
No matter what happens, one of the best and brightest stars is going to be a new NBA champion when we look at Jayson Tatum being the biggest star on the Celtics and Luka Doncic for the Mavs. Who needs to win this championship more, Luka or Jayson Tatum, in terms of their long-term legacy?
I think it's Tatum. He's done just about everything. He admits when you're going to be a Celtic great, you have to win, you have to raise a banner. He understands that. He's been here before. This is Luka's first finals. He's the underdog. Jayson Tatum is the favorite. He's got home court. He's got the better team. He's got to deliver.
I'm with Wendy on this one, and it's not just about Jayson Tatum winning the championship. He has to win the Finals MVP, right? When you're talking about being cemented in royalty in this franchise with all the greats, when you think about Bill Russell, you talk about Paul Pierce, you talk about Larry Bird. They completed the mission. You said the other day, they holding up the big trophy and the little trophy. The stage is set for Jayson Tatum to take that, and if he's talking about sitting at the table, ordering filet mignon, mashed potatoes, and broccoli with the greats in this franchise, then he got to get it done all across the board.
Brian, I know you don't like making predictions, but how do you see this series playing out?
I see it playing out in favor of the Celtics, but they can't stub their toe. They can't let a game, especially here, they can't let a game go.
Your thoughts?
I got Celtics in 7. It depends on how Kristaps Porzingis look. If he's 70% or higher, I'm rolling with Celtics in 7. If he's under that, I'm going Dallas in 6.
As we say goodbye, a shout out to our dear friend Doris Burke, who's making history yet again, becoming the first woman ever to serve as a TV game analyst for any major men's championship event. The GOATs, one of the best people in this business and a dear friend. Have a great call. Make sure to tune in to the call at 8:30 Eastern on ABC. Thank you so much for watching Hoop Streams, and thanks to DoorDash for counting us down to 0. DashPass your door to $0 delivery fees on DoorDash. Enjoy the game. We'll see you on Sunday for Game 2 back here in Boston.